It's hot out, you're fasting, you just want to enjoy something. You want to hang out on the porch sipping on some iced tea or some iced coffee, waiting for the day to pass by so it's time to eat again. So I have two quick recipes, okay? Very simple, but very effective, but most of all, very refreshing for a hot summer day. I have an iced tea, and then I have a fasting sparkling coffee. So I'll lead off with the iced tea, because this is a very simple yet effective recipe. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first off, I have 12 ounces of water, okay? I wanna make it a little bit concentrated, so I'll show you how we do that. Okay, first things first, I'm gonna put just a dash of cinnamon in the water. You wanna put it in a shaker cup, or if you have any kind of equipment to like Muddle or anything like that that you would usually do with like drink mixes, that'll work too. I'm just gonna do a dash of cinnamon, but I would say probably about a half a teaspoon. And the reason we want cinnamon is it's gonna modulate the cortisol levels a little bit during a fast. So especially in the afternoon, towards like the end of your fast, you wanna kind of bring those cortisol levels down, but it can also have an effect on mimicking insulin, which could even drop your insulin levels potentially lower, making it so that when you do break your fast, you don't have as big of an insulin spike, which is something we tend to try to avoid. Okay, then really simple, I'm gonna put the juice of 1 lemon in there. This is purely for digestive benefit. Now, some people can make some other claims surrounding lemons, but it's simple. For me, it's digestion, but it's also going to be very refreshing, okay? Who doesn't like the, taste of a lemon, right? Here's where we get kind of interesting. Okay, we're gonna add 5 or 6 fresh sprigs of thyme. Now this is where you would normally use like a muddler. You try to kind of muddle it in there, get a little bit of flavor. I'm gonna just kind of sprig the leaves off a little bit, but I want to leave them in big enough chunks so that after I mix it up in the shaker cup or a muddler, it doesn't come filtering in to my actual cup of tea. The reason that I'm using thyme is a very specific reason, and if you've watched my videos before, I talk about something called PPAR alpha. Abbreviating what this is all about, PPAR alpha is a receptor protein that allows us to get fat adapted. Fat adapted means our cells are utilizing fat as a fuel source preferentially instead of glucose. Obviously a very powerful thing during a fast, as we want our body to become very efficient at utilizing fat as a fuel source, because that's going to get us more of the benefit of the fast. So thyme contains something called hispidulene, which is a really cool compound. You can also get it in rosemary, you can also get it in sage, but I think thyme is a really refreshing flavor, especially with the profile that we're going for here. So we've already got the lemon, we've got the cinnamon, we've got the thyme. Let me just kind of muddle the thyme in there a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of push it down. And you could do this before you add water too, and just kind of get some of the oils out there if you want to. You could always use powdered thyme too. I just find that using sprigs of thyme and kind of pressing it in there, and again, using a muddler is gonna get you kind of that better. You can kind of smash it in there a little bit, but I can smash it pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use Pique Tea Crystals Mint Green, because mint green is a very refreshing taste. Okay, so I'm gonna use 2 packets. Now, these are really cool because they are very effective and very refreshing. They're the only tea that is actually designed for their health benefits. So very cool stuff. They have different flavors too. I like this mint green because it's refreshing, but they also have a bergamot, which is a really cool tea that's easy on the digestive system. That one's a good one in the morning if you have a sensitive stomach. They also have a ginger fasting green tea, which is really cool to aid in digestion. And then if you're looking to add some teas in the evening time, they have some herbal teas that are caffeine free. So they go through a cold crystallation process, which means that most of the time they're soluble in cold water as well as hot. So you just add them in. So it really just makes it easy when you're trying to choose between which flavor you want to go for. They also triple toxin screen it, so it's really interesting there. Okay, and that is that with that. Then I mix it up. And the other thing about Pique Tea, by the way, if you go ahead and you use that link down below, I've been able to get everyone that's watching this video 5% off. Okay, so that way you can use the link down below, save 5% off whatever fasting tea you want to try. And I just highly recommend you give it a shot. It's really awesome. They're a big supporter of this channel as well, have been for a couple of years. So thank you, Pique Tea, for that continued support. I don't know if you guys know Dr. Jason Fung, but Dr. Jason Fung formulated a lot of these fasting teas, which is super, super cool, and all the more reason to be involved. Okay. Now, because I have the sprigs of thyme in there, if you're using just kind of the budget fashion like I am with the shaker cup and not a muddler, you want to kind of leave the lid just kind of cracked so you don't get a bunch of sprigs of thyme. But even still, if you do, it's really not the end of the world. Look at that. If you wanted to, you could add a little bit of monk fruit. I would recommend monk fruit over stevia in this particular case. Just a couple drops. A lot of people ask if monk fruit's going to break a fast. It's so negligible. I think you're fine. The other thing that people are going to ask a lot is, do the herbs, does the thyme actually break a fast if you ingest a little bit of it? Depends who you ask. Okay, the benefit that you are getting from the hispidulene, from the actual thyme, is probably going to supersede any like fraction of a calorie that you get. That is so crisp. It is the combination of the lemon and the cinnamon and then the mint green that really makes this one good. The neat thing is you could use other flavors. Like if you wanted to make it caffeine free and have it in the evening time, you could use one of their herbal teas. It's super fun and just nice to experiment with that. Okay, now there's another one that I'm gonna show you for those of you that are coffee lovers. Maybe it's a hot summer day and you wanna sip on a little coffee, one of those balmy mornings, I don't know, down south, who knows? Okay, so in this case, I have sparkling waters. Does mineral water break a fast? No, mineral water does not break a fast. Usually doesn't have anything added to it. It's just water. In fact, it's a fun way to be able to get some substance during a fast. And coffee and tea as well, both can induce autophagy, which means you can get a little bit more out of your fast by accelerating that. And both the caffeine that you're going to get from a green tea and from a coffee are going to help with what is called lipolysis. That's the mobilization of fats out of their storage form in the adipose tissue into the free fatty acid form within the bloodstream. Once they're in the bloodstream, then, well, they can get converted into ketones or taken up directly by the muscle cell through what's called beta oxidation, which is where you are, you guessed it, burning fat. So first things first, let's go ahead and muddle up a little bit of this mint. I want to use fresh mint in this particular case. So put it to the bottom of my shaker cup. I'm just gonna mash it in there a little bit just to kind of break it open, get some of those mint oils out. I don't know if you've ever tried mint coffee, but it's pretty darn cool. It actually has a really refreshing taste and cuts some of the bitterness of coffee. So muddle that up, get those oils in there. And then, now that I have that a little bit smashed, I'm going to put some sparkling water in. You use Topo Chico, whatever. And you're gonna do about 4 ounces or so of Topo Chico or mineral water. That might be a little more than 4 ounces, but that's all right. And then I'm gonna muddle it up a little bit more so it mixes in with that. Be careful not to shake it up too much because mineral water really foams a lot. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add a little bit of my monk fruit ahead of time. A couple drops. Now, in this case, I'm just using a regular cold brew. You could use whatever you want. You just try to use an organic, fair trade cold brew. It just makes it a little bit smoother. In this case, we don't have to add a whole lot. I'm going to do, this is a 12-ounce can. I'll probably do about half of it, about 6 ounces. And then totally up to you, you can add the cinnamon, but cinnamon in hot coffee tastes good. Cinnamon in iced coffee, not quite as good. Now when you shake it, remember, don't go crazy, don't go ham on it. You just kind of want to gently, you've already got the mint muddled up ahead of time. You don't need to aggressively shake like I want you to do with the thyme one. Just give it a little shake. Ooh, that is awesome. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it tastes like a cocktail. Like the mint, the coffee, a little bit of sweetener, and that's really all you need to it. I mean, how simple is that? But here's something super cool. If you're not fasting, and you maybe want to make it a little keto recipe, a little bit of heavy cream in that bad boy. Look at that. Get a close-up of how creamy that looks. When you look at these two together, this is what we're talking about, right? Okay, the only tea formulated for health benefits, Pique Tea crystals, and then a delicious coffee recipe. You've got the best of both worlds there. Again, with the Pique Tea, don't forget to use code THOMAS to save 5% if you want to try any of the fasting teas. And with the coffee one, again, keto friendly or fasting friendly. Those are both delicious. So enjoy your summer. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.